I want to talk about feeling like you are trapped, like you're in a loveless marriage, or just, I would say, a loveless long-term relationship. You know, these people that become complacent with each other and they just stick with the person just because they're not necessarily fighting. They're not miserable. They don't hate each other, and they certainly don't have any ill feeling toward the person. It's loveless, it's dry, it's boring, it's dull. You feel like you're just doing the same boring thing day in, day out. Now, boring and loveless might be two different things, but I want to focus more on the loveless because love is the number one thing people want when they get married. Wouldn't you expect that? I mean, if you're married, you would hope that your partner truly did love you. So I came across a video from a man that did a video talking about relationships and how a man really loves you. And one of the things that stood out, and Shira 7 crew might like this, you know, the people that follow the Sprinkle Sprinkle lady might love this, is that if a man really loves you, he's not asking you to split 50-50. He's not asking you what you bring to the table. He's not concerned so much about what do you bring or what can you do for me. If a man is smitten with you, he is pouring into you and allowing you to fully be who you are and loving every bit of it, no matter what you look like, no matter what you do. And it made me think about my current situation, you know, having been married for 11 years and knowing that feeling of, is this the mundane? Are we getting too boring? Do we need to spice things up a bit? Because these things are important to someone like me that studied communication. You know, communication would be the number one thing people would tell you, that you're not in a loving relationship if communication is broke down. But I would go further and say that it's not the communication, it's the withdrawal of communication. The feeling of, well, we don't have any problems, so we shouldn't even talk. We should just put our headphones in and carry on and do our own thing. It's that withdrawal, because sometimes people who are in loveless relationships can still communicate. They still will ask, how was your day? And, you know, the mundane, boring kind of humdrum conversations. But it's the withdrawal, the feeling of, I don't really care to know what his day is like, or I really don't want to start a conversation with her because it's going to be some long, drawn out thing that I'm not interested in. And that brings me to the next point, you know, lack of interest. You start to see that the things that your partner really are interested in, you absolutely hate. You hate it. You abhor it. You have no interest in it. It's like the man that sees the wife watching a television show that he can't get into. You have to have shared interests, and being in love sometimes means that you share in those interests together. You want to do things together that bring joy to one another. You know, for example, my husband loves going shooting. I would rather go play tennis. Would it be nice if he accompanied me to go play tennis? Absolutely. If he expects me to go shooting, then he should accompany me to go play tennis. Now, a loveless couple, that partner will never question. They'll never say, hey, do you want me to go do this sport with you, or go do this hobby with you, or do you need help with that? They will be like, I'm just glad they're preoccupied and they're not bothering me. That's a sign that you're in a loveless marriage where they have no desire to, you know, connect on any level with your interests. This one is key, bickering. The constant bickering, the need to constantly put down, minimize, degrade, berate, use each other's past and things that have happened in the past against them, bringing up old hurts and pains. This is a sign you're in a loveless marriage. This one, the men would definitely agree. Absence of, you know, touch, physical attraction to one another. Does your girlfriend or wife just say, I'm not interested, or they seem like they're faking it when you're with them? And you know what I mean by faking it, because let's face it, ladies, we're pretty good at faking it if we're not really interested. I think some women that have confined themselves to being with these men, you see the videos of them, you know, beautiful women with these old, shriveled up old men, and they're just like, I don't know how they do it. I have no idea how they'd be interested. You know, sometimes money is more important than what you value morally. So women can fake it. Let's just face it. And trust me, men, if you are not doing a good job putting energy into her, turning her on, doing things that she likes, you know, she's going to lose interest in you. You have to spice it up in the bedroom. Ask her what she likes and do those things. And when she says, I like this, pay close attention, write it down, put it in a notepad somewhere so that you remember the things that she likes and the things that she dislikes. Because let's face it, intimacy is the most important part of a relationship. If you don't have intimacy, you're done. It's over. All right. That means that the connection, you're just basically living with a roommate or a friend at this point. This one is definitely something that I know I do when I detach. I become more, emotionally independent and even physically independent. I want to do things on my own. I rely less on him. I decide to hang that painting myself because it's taking too long. I decide to go on that vacation because he doesn't feel like traveling. And I know that this is something that some people are guilty of. They're just like, onward. They don't care. They'll leave you in the dust. But when you're in a marriage, if you're not doing these things together, your relationship is starting to degrade. Take note of it and figure out what you can do to come together to say, listen, we've got to make an effort to do these things together. I know it's painful. I know it's hard to do these little trips, but maybe we don't have to do a long trip. We can just go for a 2-hour drive and go do some scenic things, or we can go stay a night at a hotel and rekindle our romance. We can go shopping together. Clothes shopping is so much fun when you go with somebody and that you can try on things and say, how does this look on me? Or, you can laugh and banter with each other about, you've been together 10, 20 years and, oh, I put on a little weight, haven't I? And you can just really reconnect in those little tiny moments when you think, oh, this isn't really that important. A huge part of being in a loveless marriage is you don't have long-term goals anymore. You're not thinking future. You're just living in the day to day, being bored, being dry, not really having any kind of future idea of what you see yourself doing 20, 30 years from now if you make it that long. Do you want to stick with this person? Can they excite you that long? If you're already like a year or two into your marriage and you're having these problems, you might want to go seek some counseling now and figure out whether or not this is worth it. Because trust me, guys, you don't want to get in a loveless marriage. It is the most horrible feeling to be with somebody. You're with them 10, 20, 30 years. And now you're confined to this concept of, well, I put in all this time and effort. I'm not fighting with them all the time. I'm not bickering all the time, but we just don't get along. And I enjoy my solitude and them being out of my sight. If you're finding yourself, petting your cat and dog more and kissing your cat and dog more than you're kissing your spouse, this is a sign. This is a bad sign. If you're taking care of the grandkids 24/7 and you're just not letting your partner have that time with you and you're focusing on your children and your pets and everything else around your job, but you're not giving into your relationship with that man or that woman, you're probably in a loveless relationship. And I'm talking about little things, guys. I know everybody always thinks money, you have to have money. No, you don't. Little things count. I had a guy once get up every morning and go get me coffee. Every blessed morning, he would go to Starbucks and buy me coffee. Or if he couldn't, go to Starbucks, he would go make coffee and bring it to me in bed because he knew I loved waking up with a pot of coffee or a coffee cup in my hand. Right? Now, obviously, he didn't have to do that. Also, songs, he picks out songs that he knows I like. Or he talks about, hey, you want to go see this concert? This is signs that you're in a good relationship. They're planning things with you. They're making future dates. Date night isn't just a scripted thing like, okay, I go on a date every Friday with my spouse and it's boring. It's, impromptu. It's let's get up and go do something. Let's go take a drive. Let's go see some houses. Your future planning together. You're excited about your future. If this isn't happening, your relationship is probably on the rocks. And I wish you the best. But if you want a video on how to increase intimacy, I can do a video on that because trust me, I've been there. I've been married 11 years. I just had an anniversary last week. And I can tell you, it is a struggle sometimes when you feel that you're pulling away from your partner. Don't allow it to happen, guys. I'm telling you, don't allow it. I would say this is one of the other signs of being in a loveless marriage. And this one is kind of scary. If you're thinking of your ex or you're thinking of what have I done to deserve this? And you're thinking of the past and you're dwelling on, why didn't I make this decision or that decision? Or I should have stayed with this guy or that girl. This is a terrible relationship. What was I thinking? Guys, this is bad news, bear. You don't want to get to this point. This means that this person was not for you to begin with. All right? You just tricked yourself or convinced yourself that this marriage was going to work. And sometimes marriages are not just out of sheer love, which is what I hope for all of you, that you find somebody that just, you fall in love. You just, everything about them excites you. Their presence, date nights, you know, the bedroom, the ideas of the bedroom and what can happen in there, that excites you and gets you riled up. You want to look your best. You're putting effort into looking your best for them. You're getting up. You're trying to smell good. You're shaving. I consider all of those things key signs that you're in a loveless relationship. When I see a couple start to fall apart, they become less of themselves. They stop taking care of their own self. They neglect their self and they're just like, oh, well, I don't care. You know, she's not attracted to me anyway, so I'm going to let my beard grow out, or I'm just going to wear my ratty old pants. Or she just doesn't get up every day and look good. She just throws her hair in a sloppy ponytail. Try to understand, you want to give to a partner that excites you, that gets you turned on. But most importantly, there's an emotional connection there. Even men will say this. Men will always say this to me. I am turned on by several things of a woman. Obviously, men can get it on with any woman, you know, and just get their needs met that way. But the real connection, the real women that they go crazy after and they literally can't get enough of are the women that just work their mind, that really tease their mind, you know. You have to turn him on. You have to make him think you're the prize. You're the one that's going to rock his world every time that he sees you, you know? If he doesn't believe that, you're in a loveless marriage. You're existing to exist. Does that make sense? And it's not about looks all the time, because sometimes my own husband will look at me and say, I look pretty even when you don't have makeup on and you're just wearing your regular house clothes, you know? You're not wearing a super fancy shirt or dress. Like, I'm dressed in a regular outfit every day. And to me, even if I don't think I'm at my most attractive, if he's saying it to me, that's another way I know our connection is good. If he's saying, you are so pretty, you're so attractive, I love how you look in that, boy, that color suits you. And women could do this with men too. Men love these little compliments. They won't say it, but they love these little bits of, you know, throwing some nice compliments and, you know, kind words to them, because it makes them feel uplifted that someone finds them attractive. And men, a lot of men walk around with their head slung down thinking, you know, women are the prize, so we're second best, nobody cares about us. And that's simply not true. You just haven't found a woman that loves you the way that you deserve to be loved. And same goes for women. If you're finding yourself discontented and just miserable, maybe that man does not love you the way that you deserve to be loved. Anyways, you guys tell me what you think, because this video is already too long. But have a great day, and remember to think for yourself.